choose the discipline and we suck it up and do what we are supposed to do, what we've pledged to do by being on the team, then the results are just stunning much of the time, most of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Coach, listen, I could have talked to you for hours upon hours. Thank you for being so gracious with your time, and please thank your bride for us, for sharing you, because anytime we say no to other people, we're saying no to our loved ones. So please thank her for us. I still appreciate your career and your awards and all those things are very impressive, very admirable, but your humility, your leadership, and your commitment to others, along with your transparency, is what attracts me the most to the man you are and the legacy that you're leaving. So thank you for your time, and thank you for being who you are, which is somebody that's real and cares about other people and is a man of faith.
Well, God bless you in your work, and thank you for doing it. What you're doing is not easy, and so I'll be praying for you, and thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Well, Coach Curry, you stay right there. I want to give you the proper goodbye. As we sign off, remember to all of our listeners, it's not the rings and the trophies, it's what you do with your life. So you're going to have that moment of truth. Buy in. You never know what God has planned for you until you trust him. So that's my message as we leave. Trust him. Put in the work. It's those two great pains in life. Don't have that pain of regret. Get after it right now, and you'll be amazed at what God can do in your life. So for all of us here at
All righty, boys, we're coming right to you. One second.
Thanks for listening, and thanks for joining us to hear from Coach Bill Curry. Again, BillCurry.net is the place to go to find out so many wonderful and great things and more about the great traits that he has on there. So until next time, I'm Les Norman, and you've been listening to Breaking the Norm.
Kansas City's hometown sports station. Sports Radio 810 WHP Kansas City.
It seems like all of a sudden summer slipped into autumn, and now the hustle and bustle of the holidays are fast approaching. At Lifetime Fitness, as seasons, schedules, and stressors change, they know it can be hard to prioritize your health and wellness while balancing family, work, friends, and fun. Let Lifetime take some weight off your shoulders and support your healthy living goals with exciting new things arriving this month, all included in your membership. Jumpstart your end-of-year success by scheduling a complimentary session with a nutrition and fitness coach to discuss your goals and develop a plan. Lifetime Fitness in Overland Park and Lenexa.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the #1 motorsports show for 2 decades, Track Talk, brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Here are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I'm Scott Traylor. The guy sitting across from me is Kirk Elliott. We're the Racing Boys. Want to thank Blake back at Sports Radio 810 WHB for helping us out here in hour #1 on Sports Radio 810, as well as Todd Surprise and Austin O'Neill back here at Racing Boys HQ, taking care of the dials for us back here. Got a really good show lined up for you today, folks. I mean, a good one. We're going to interview Ty Gibbs here in just a few minutes. Steve Post is going to be joining us. And one of the winners down at Short Track Nationals, they had 2 features last night at the Short Track Nationals. And they took 2 people out of each one of those features to get locked in tonight. One of those winners last night in the first feature, Jordan Mallett, he's going to join us as well. Lee Spencer will be on with us as she normally is. Kirk, how you doing, my friend? Did you go out Lakeside last night?
I did, and wouldn't you know it, I was home before midnight last night. Maybe it's because where I parked may have made a difference. I was still on the property. You know, the first time I'd ever seen this, Scott,
right,
driving off Walcott up to the T intersection, I hang a right, and this first time I ever saw cars parked on both sides of the road.
I've seen that before.
Way back there, at that point?
Way back there, back in the night they put dirt on Lakeside.
I recall that.
Yeah.
That's the only other time I remember being stopped in traffic, getting into Lakeside Speedway is the first night they had dirt on it. That was 2000, by the way. That's that long ago. But,
yep.
Man, what a crowd last night. It was a great night. They were really fortunate. Weather this time of the year, you never know what you're going to get, but it was a beautiful day, a beautiful night for racing, a packed house.
How many cars they end up
night.
with last night out there?
I didn't see what the total car count was.
Oh, you didn't get that when you were out there?
I didn't look at that. So somewhere around 25 cars or so. They had.
There was more than that. I think they were closer to 30 cars.
Was there close to 30? That's one thing I didn't look at. I didn't look at the total car count. They had 4 heat races last night, so that would say that you were more right than me as far as the total count. But I'll look at that here in a little bit. But it was a great show last night and a great night for Gio Scelzi.
Well, Gio Scelzi was very lucky to make it to the end of that race. Folks, I don't know if you were watching the battle between Aaron Reitzel in the 8 car and Gio Scelzi in the 18 car. Gio Scelzi was a little ticked off at Aaron Reitzel last night, just so you know. He was not happy with Reitzel. They come off a turn 4. Reitzel basically runs Gio Scelzi into the wall, trying to take the position from him, and he did. And Gio did some front-end damage to his car. If you looked at his left front tire, it was towed out a little bit. He said in his post-race interview with Chase that he felt like that towed out helped him a little bit when he tried to roll down on the bottom. But he said it was a little darty when he was going down the front straightaway because it was towed out a little bit. So he said it was a little bit hairy. But he was quick to say Aaron Reitzel, after Aaron Reitzel tried to run me in the wall and wreck me. So I think at that point, from that point on, Matson was out in the lead, and I think that motivated Gio Scelzi, and he got elbows up, drove the wheels off that car, ended up getting up there, taking the win. His first, now, this is hard to believe, isn't it, Kurt? First World of Outlaw win.
I thought he won another race one time. He told me in Victory Circle that
last night
he'd won one in 2020.
Last night they said it was his first World of Outlaw win.
Okay.
So
I'll go with
that's
that.
what they said on the broadcast anyway.
I'll settle with that. They had 32 cars last night was the total car count. So
32.
Yep.
All right.
But Kerry Madsen led most of the way, and
it looked like he had the race won.
It did. But some of those restarts didn't help him out at all, including the last one.
Mm-hmm.
And he had to settle for a third-place finish last night. Donnie Schatz made a good run up through the race, but fell just a little bit short. I've got some sound from the top 3 finishers here we'll get to in just a little bit, but it was a great night.
We'll just go ahead and run it now. So who do you want to start with, Gio?
We'll start with Gio Scelzi. And, I will have to admit, where I was standing down on the hill, down on the other side.
Here we go. Disclaimer.
On the hillside that's between the grandstand and the pit area, I saw the move that Reitzel was making on Scelzi, but I didn't know until you told me. This is one disadvantage of sometimes being there versus watching on video. I didn't know that they'd actually made contact down there. I knew it was close. And I didn't know until you told me this morning that it had been out the tow on that car that helped him in the race, because I didn't hear the post-race interview because I was on my way down to Victory Circle, so I didn't hear what he said in Victory Circle. So there's that. But, man, he was able to recover from all of that. Worked out great for him.
So,
and
Kirk, what did you just do right there? Did you just explain to everybody that you didn't see it? Is that what you were doing right there?
I didn't see it.
Okay.
I saw the
You wanted to make sure everybody knew that you didn't see it.
I saw the move that he made, but I didn't know that they'd made contact until you told me this morning. See, you saw more than I did, and you weren't even there last night.
No, I wasn't there. And I'll tell you why I wasn't there. I wasn't there because of the traffic.
You almost was there. You almost made it there.
I drove out there, and when I got to 435, and the cars were backed out onto the highway on 435, in both directions, by the way. And then I went down to the next exit and tried to come in the back way. It was backed up all the way to that exit ramp. I said to myself, don't get yourself locked in on this deal. It could take you all night to get out of this racetrack. So I made the decision to come back home And what I did all night last night is what I'll be doing a lot of in the future with our new show, Mostly Motorsports, brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. I watched everything on TV. I watched Trophy Cup, I watched Short Track Nationals, and I watched Lakeside Speedway, all last night from the comfort of our own little studio right here. So that's what I did. And but you made it home at a decent time. But
yeah,
Austin O'Neill told me, Austin, get up on that mic there real quick. You told me you and your dad got in your. Did you drive yourself out there, Austin?
Yeah, I drove myself.
You got out there, and it took you an hour and a half to get out of there, didn't it?
Yeah, we got the truck at around 11 o'clock, and 12:30 we rolled out of Lakeside over the railroad tracks and headed home.
Yeah.
And I was already home in bed by that time.
And you're a little bit further from home than we are.
Yeah, it's about a 35, 40-minute drive for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about what it is for me.
Were you cussing yourself parking back there by the pits after you thought about it for a few minutes?
Oh, for sure. I mean,
yeah.
I rolled back there was nobody parked there, so I had a decent parking spot up in the front couple rows.
Right.
And yeah, that was a bad mistake.
Yeah.
Well, when I got in there last night, and we had a lot of stuff we had to get done, get ready for the weekend out there, so I was doing some stuff here at the studio, and I thought around 5:30, 6 o'clock, well, time to go to the races. We both left about the same time. You left a little ahead of me.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, plenty of time. And then you called and said, hey, I want to
take you an hour. It's going to take you an hour to get in.
This thing is traffic stopped on 435 out there. So I continued on. I got in. I missed the heat races, but I drove around a little bit, tried to find a place to park. I found a spot right in behind the World of Outlaws trailer, headed out.
Yeah.
But it still took 45 minutes for the traffic to get out of there. So,
Hey,
but anyway, it was a great night, great
Austin,
crowd.
I want to ask you one other thing here real quick. But hell of a year. I don't want you to think that you didn't have a hell of a year. You finished second in the points in the Racing Boys ASCS Warrior Region, presented by Impact Signs, Awnings, and Wrap. It's so funny that the Wrap car beat the Racing Boys car this year, but I was so sad for you when I heard that the water pump had went out of your car and you couldn't even come out and start the feature. That had to be just like a gut-wrenching moment for you, didn't it?
I mean, it was. We spent, those 2 weeks leading up to that race, making sure I wasn't going to have any part failures take me out of a shot for a championship, and something out of your control takes you out. It's definitely a frustrating moment and a tough ride home.
Yeah, you decided not to go to short track this weekend, right?
Yeah, we talked about it. Talked about going to Devil's Bowl as well, but with being short on parts and having to make an 8-hour round trip to Westmar to get water pump fixed, it probably wasn't.
It was going to take a lot of effort.
Yeah, for just 2 races.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on a great season, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, good job. And you are going to be...
You'll be a champion.
A champion someday. Yeah.
For sure.
And the wins will come.
All right, Kirk, let's talk a little bit about Gio last night. He picked up the win. They said it was his first win. Last night at the Short Track Nationals, what a big win.
Did you want to hear from Gio first? Or?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead and play.
Yeah, let's hear the sound from last night. Then we'll talk about short track.
I forgot about that.
There was some great racing down in Little Rock last night. But just to wrap up everything that went on at Lakeside, Gio Scelzi comes up with a huge victory last night. And here are his comments after the race.
This is really cool. My second Outlaw win came in May of 2020, so it's been a while, but yeah, this is really sweet. It wasn't good early. It took me a bit to get going, and yeah, just had a really good restart to get to second and battled with Donnie, and I knew I was as good as Kerry. Didn't think I was better than him, and he protected there in 1 and 2 on the bottom. He was moving all around in 1 and 2, and I was just ripping around the cushion. So yeah, I snuck by him and slid him there and led the last couple. So yeah, just great job to my guys. They work extremely hard no matter how bad we suck, and if we win, they're the same supportive team.
Well, you know what? I don't know if you know this, but last night was the first night for a brand new crew chief for Gio Scelzi. Did you know that? First night for a crew chief, he's batting 1,000.
How about that?
Yeah, first night.
Well, he had it going on last night. There's no doubt about that. So great win.
Even with a damaged car.
Yeah.
Again, caused by Aaron Reitzel as he squeezed him in the wall down at the front straightaway. That could have been a huge wreck, folks. I'm telling you, it was so close to being a giant wreck on the front straightaway. between Aaron Reitzel and Gio Scelzi. But Gio comes back out on top. I really had to feel sorry for Madsen because he led all those laps.
He did.
But still, I'm not real disappointed on the winner there. I'm a big fan of Gio Scelzi. I think he's a good kid.
Well, let's hear from the Madman. Third place finished last night. Just faded there towards the end, but here's what he had to say.
So we had a good car, and that's smart racing, man. You got to get it right all the way to the end, and just didn't do a good enough job on the restart to close the deal out. Good corner on 1 and 2 on the start, and I just stuck with what I was doing and opened the door up for the 18.
Sometimes it's more difficult being the leader on those restarts because, the guy behind you knows what you've been doing and where you're going a lot of times. So sometimes it's a disadvantage being the leader. And it was for Madsen last night.
I understand what you're saying, Kirk, but there's also times when, you're the leader, you should win that race, especially after you've led that many laps.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
He should have won that race.
He pretty much admitted that he got beat on that restart there. So Donnie Schatz, pretty solid second-place finish, but, Donnie Schatz, he's a 10-time World of Outlaws champion. All these wins, second, not good enough for Donnie Schatz, but still a great run.
Well, I don't know. It'd been nice to stay in lap traffic at some point and make those guys have to move around. I mean, we really had open racetrack. We had to pass an open racetrack, so I don't know. We got better as the race went on. For some reason, the 18 could go really good for a lap or two on the restarts. That's how he got the lead there at the end with 4 to go. But then 5 laps in, he'd start to fade. I mean, he came back a couple times. So it's just the way it works out. It's a cool night. Air freshers play weird things on nights like tonight. The way the motors run, the way the track changes. So we were there at the end. Just we got nothing to show for it.
Well, a little disappointed. Obviously, he felt like that if they could have stayed long runs, he felt like that maybe he had a chance, but those cautions kind of hurt him there at the end. So
yeah.
Anyway, good night of action out there. Lakeside should be very proud of what they did. The only thing that Lakeside needs to work on is their traffic.
Well, we've said that for years. There's only one way in and out because of the railroad tracks.
It's not good. They need to do something about that. What they can do, I don't know.
I think they've tried. Not much they can do.
But I would think that if they were to put another exit over those railroad tracks out there, that would be a huge investment.
That's easier said than done.
That's a huge investment,
right?
I would think.
Well,
anyway. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about Short Track Nationals. Last night number 1 of the Short Track Nationals. Again, they run dual features, 20-lap features. The top 2 get locked in. And in the first feature, Jordan Mallett just put it on the field. It was a great race between him and Derek Hagar. Derek Hagar really raced him really hard, and Dylan Westbrook got in there at the last minute. But unfortunately for Dylan Westbrook, he runs third. He is not locked in. Only the top 2 guys, Jordan Mallett, Derek Hagar, get locked in from last night's A-Main number 1. Then A-Main number 2, Sam Haferteeth Jr., beat J.J. Hickle to the line. And again, we've got this battle going on between J.J. Hickle and Blake Hahn, right? And it is a narrow, I say narrow, I think it's about 60 points, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to take a look here real quick. 52 points. Isn't that ironic? Blake Hahn has got a 52-point lead over J.J. Hickle going into this race. Blake Hahn's number is 52. I think if I heard right last night on the broadcast, all Blake has to do is run 15th or better tonight.
Yeah, he can't afford a disaster, but if he gets a pretty solid finish, you got. Yeah.
All I want to say to Blake Hahn is right now, just win the championship. That's what the big picture's all about. I know he wants to be a 3-time winner of the Short Track Nationals. He's won it twice. He's very good down there, very fast. But you got to think about the $40,000 you're going to win for that championship. And that's exactly what he's got to do tonight when he goes into this A-Main. He's not locked in yet. He's going to have to earn his way into it. But once he gets into the A-Main, he needs to stay out of trouble, make sure he runs up in the top 15, win this championship, pick up that $40,000, and I think that's what he'll do tonight. But let me tell you, last night, J.J. Hickle, late in that race, got up there, and I'm telling you, he was racing Blake Hahn really hard. He knows what he has to do. J.J. Hickle knows that he's got to finish in front of Blake every time they're on the track together. And last night, you could tell the urgency in the way J.J. Hickle was driving that race car. He was up on the wheel, banging tires with Blake Hahn, throwing caution to the wind. J.J. Hickle is fast. I'm not sure he's going to be fast enough to beat Sam Haferteef. It appeared to me that Sam, and if I'm not mistaken, Sam might have been the only guy during qualifying that broke the 11-second barrier down there last night. So Sam Haferteef said that he is the defending champion of this race, and he thinks his car's better than the one that he had last year. That could be bad news for the rest of the guys down there at Short Track Nationals.
Yeah, I just, I mean, Sam Haferteef is the man tonight, I think, based on what we saw last night. I mean, what did he win by about a half a lap? He had about a half a lap lead on the rest of the field.
Well,
at the end of that
he
race.
got out on him, and then, everybody else started racing.
Yeah.
So, and let me tell you this about Sam. Sam's exceptional at getting through the traffic, lap traffic. And he's not afraid. And I saw it last night. In fact, there was 2 lap cars in front of him. They were running side by side. He went into 3. They were side by side. And what Sam do? He squirts right through the middle of them, comes out on the other end. And I've seen Sam do that so many times. Cars going too wide, he'll go right through the center of them. I've seen that happen so many times with Sam over the years. He is not afraid to take a chance. And Sam wants to win this race back-to-back, kind of like a few other people have done.
Well, he sounded pretty confident at the end of that race last night. He was very happy with the way that car performed.
Absolutely.
And with 4 drivers being locked in right now, and he's one of them. And, J.J. Hickle coming off a big momentum, winning the Winter Nationals down at Devil's Bowl Speedway, a place where, what did he do, sweep the season? Won 2 races in the spring, and then last Saturday night had a big night.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to get to Buddy Kofoid won Trophy Cup night number 1 last night.
That was Thursday night.
Driving the Finley Farms number 57 car. If you're familiar with that car, that's the car that our friend Kyle Larson normally runs. And
Justin Sanders had been driving that car out on the West Coast, but Buddy Kofoid behind the wheel. He finished second last night. Last night it was Rico who comes through with the night 2 victory at Thunderbolt Speedway.
I forgot. It's night number 2 last night.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Buddy won on night 1.
Yeah.
Rico won night 2.
Yeah, it was Rico, Buddy Kofoid, and Michael Facento, your top 3 last night.
I got ahead of myself.
Kyle Hurst finished 4th, and Kobe Copeland finished in 5th place in last night's feature event out at California.
Now, you didn't get a press release on that one, did you?
Now, I just have the feature results, all I've got here.
I got you.
But we got to post it up on the website, racingboys.com.
All right, there you have it. Segment number 1 here on Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products, made in America, sold to the world. Don't forget, Mostly Motorsports is going to debut. It looks like we're going to debut Mostly Motorsports at the Chili Bowl, folks. So just so you know, that is tentative plans for us to debut Mostly Motorsports is at the Chili Bowl. We're going to take a break right now.
Big day at Kansas Speedway.
It's a huge day at Kansas Speedway. We've got the Kansas Lottery 300 with the Xfinity cars. They'll be running this afternoon. And tonight, the Reese's 150 ARCA Menard series will be running tonight.
Can Ty Gibbs double up today? I think he can.
It's going to be a little chilly. Bring your warm gear out there today. You might want to bring some rain gear as well. So it could be a long day out at the Speedway today, but we'll be out there hanging out, so we hope that we'll run into you. We're going to take a break right now. We'll be back with more of Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, as well as RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Stay tuned.
Track Talk.
As your power steering pump ages, seal leaks may occur, causing the power steering system to lose fluid. Your power steering system may also develop an annoying squeal, and the steering may become more difficult to handle. By using Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak, you will stop the seal leaks, reduce slack in rack and pinion, eliminate the squeals and hard spots in your power steering system. It is guaranteed to stop seal leaks or your money back. Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak. It works.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I'm attorney Mike DePasquale. After a car wreck, the last thing you want to do is trust the insurance company. These insurance companies try to rip off good people every single day. My law firm won't let you get ripped off. We'll fight to get you all the money you deserve, and you don't pay us a dime unless we win your case. If you've been hurt, call me. I've got this.
Mike's got this. All you need to know, 816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Now's the time to establish and or maintain a barrier around your home with Augustine Exterminators. Don't let it break down. At Augustine Exterminators, they have you covered. Augustine Exterminators is a family-owned local business since 1966. All of their techs are certified in both Missouri and Kansas. They are a Quality Pro and Green Pro company. Augustine Exterminators also does carpet, rug, air duct, and tile cleaning. They have an excellent referral program as well. Refer a new customer, and you both get $25 off your next service. That's right. Refer a friend, and you both get $25 off. Shop and buy local with Augustine Exterminators. Call Augustine Exterminators today at 913-359-8627 or go online at AugustineExterminators.com. That's online at AugustineExterminators.com or give them a call, 913-359-8627.
Westlake Commercial, a division of Westlake Ace Hardware, specializes in products in bulk quantities you need to keep your business running smoothly. Westlake Commercial provides dedicated account representatives, convenient store locations, and free in-store charge accounts with access to more than 800,000 competitively priced products available in project quantities you need, so you can focus on what's important, running your business. To learn more, visit westlakeacehardware.com and click commercial at the top.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Stephen St. John here for Window Nation. You know, a lot of things change with the season this time of year. The leaves change, temperatures change, your clothing changes. But the one thing that stays rock solid is the quality windows, installation, and customer service from Window Nation. Plus, their amazing offer, buy 2 windows, get 2 free, pay nothing for 2 full years. They never cut corners when it comes to quality and transparency, from start to finish. Window Nation's first-class expert installers always use superior products and advanced techniques to improve and enhance your home. Every customer is fully engaged in the entire process and is treated like their family. The time to make the change is now, but time is running out. Don't get left out in the cold. Call Window Nation, 866-90-NATION, or visit windownation.com. Buy 2, get 2 free, and make no payments for 24 months. 866-90-NATION, or online at windownation.com. It's the perfect time for Window Nation, the perfect fit.
Has there ever been a year we're more excited for the holidays? Don't wait until the last minute, guys. Plan ahead and surprise her with something unexpected. Imagine her face when you hand her a Shane Company box tied with a burgundy bow. Does she already have a pair of stud earrings from Shane Company? Diamond, ruby, or sapphire? Trade them in for a larger size and only pay the difference from what you originally paid. Or maybe you got her engagement ring when you were young and just starting out. How about surprising her with a larger diamond? Or perhaps an exciting new diamond shape? You can upgrade her engagement ring at any time, and you'll get full credit for your original center stone. Just pay the difference. Shane Company has the best upgrade policy in the business. If you're not sure where to start, make an appointment and we'll help you out. Surprise her with an upgrade this holiday and leave her speechless.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
At Reed Buick GMC, we are liquidating our pre-owned vehicle inventory. Hi, this is Trevin Reed. The fourth quarter is here, and that means one thing. It's time for everything to go. At ReedBuickGMC.com, we have over 200 pre-owned trucks, SUVs, and cars available for delivery. You can start your buying process online and finish up in our dealership in less than 60 minutes. Every pre-owned ReedBuickGMC.com vehicle comes with a minimum 6-month, 6,000-mile warranty. Call 816-436-6300 or go to ReedBuickGMC.com. Reed Buick GMC is values driven.
Sunday,
Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs roll into Nashville to face the Tennessee Titans. We'll have you covered beginning at 8 a.m. with Chiefs Tailgate. At 9, Soren Petro hosts the Central Bank pregame show. And after the game, tune in for the best postgame show in Kansas City. And Sunday, we'll bring you live coverage of the Colts and 49ers on Sunday Night Football. It's all right here on your home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
You trained for this all year. Endless hours of cardio, conditioning, and weights. And now you are ready. Ready to trek back to your seat from the concession stand. Through the lines, lost fans, and that mascot who wants you to do a little dancey dance. All without spilling a drop of your ice-cold Bud Light. Welcome back to football, sports fans.
Track Talk.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I'm Scott Traylor, along with Kirk Elliott. We're the Racing Boys here at Racing Boys HQ. And joining us now on the show is a guy that's going to be really busy at Kansas Speedway this Saturday. Ty Gibbs joins us on the show. Ty, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. This is a big weekend for you coming up at Kansas Speedway. You've had success there. You've won there. You're double dipping on Saturday. What are you doing in preparation to make sure that you've got enough endurance for 2 races on Saturday?
Yeah, so I just got off of the simulator right now to do all this, and I've been practicing as much as I can. Just doing green flag pit stops, all of the stuff, restarts, just doing all the things I usually do on a weekly basis just to get ready for the weekend.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I'm fully prepared and all different scenarios. So we can be able to have a shot to win.
When you go back to a track that you've had success at, like Kansas Speedway, do you get a little giddy during the week, a little extra, drive, knowing that you can go into this track and compete at the highest level because you have in the past?
I don't really feel like I think about that too much. I feel like the biggest thing for me is just going and keeping the same mindset and going out there and be able to try to win, every week. And I feel like that's what's helped me this year, and last year kind of just changed my, how I've kind of focused on racing and looked at it. And I feel like that's helped me a lot.
Yeah. It's remarkable, Ty, how many racetracks that you've won at. I sit here and I take a look at some of the tracks that you've won at: Gateway, Salem, Pocono, Kentucky, Iowa Speedway, Winchester, Memphis. Those tracks are so different in so many ways. And then you talk about the road course at Daytona. It seems like you're able to adapt to about any type of surface, any type of size of track. Talk about why that is.
Yeah, I feel like the biggest thing is just being able to get the most experience before we get to the track. I feel like working on, being able to try to win. And like I said, running simulators, watching film, all the stuff. You have to really study this game, and it's an art. And I feel like that's the biggest thing that's helped me, like I said, just change the way I look at it and be able to come to the track and compete for wins every time I come. I feel like that's what's helped me out a lot.
Right. I think Joey Logano was the youngest driver maybe to win in the Xfinity Series in his debut, but if I'm not mistaken, you were the youngest or the second youngest driver to be able to do that. You did that at Charlotte at Daytona at the road course. Talk about that win in the Xfinity Series and what that meant to you.
Yeah, it was awesome. Be able to win my first race in the Xfinity car was super cool. I don't think anybody's done that going up the ladder. People came down and did, so that, thinking about that means a lot. And, the Xfinity Series is, awesome. NASCAR's done such a good job with it. And I really like it. I really like racing. The people is really competitive, and I really like how the cars handle with high downforce or high power and low downforce. I really, really like that.
Yeah. This season, with all the wins in the ARCA Menard Series, and you'll be running this weekend when the Reese's 150 ARCA Menard Series race. Just talk about the quantity of wins that you've had this year. Nearly 50% of those races you've won this year. It's pretty remarkable because, back in the day, I was an ARCA team owner, and it's just amazing to see somebody win nearly 50% of those races. That's got to be a huge accomplishment to you and your team and your crew chief and everybody a part of the organization.
Yeah, it's super special. It's something I didn't think that was going to happen at all. I feel like, my goal this year, just out of all the races, I could have 10 wins, and, I have 14 right now. So I feel like that's awesome. And, it's not just, it's in the ARCA and the Xfinity Series, so it's at higher levels, and, that means a lot to me. And I feel like it shows a lot about how, hard my team works, both of my teams work at, racing and how much they love it.
Yep. You'll be running in the Xfinity race this weekend. It's the Kansas Lottery 300. You'll be driving the 54 car. Talk about the difference between driving the ARCA car and stepping over into the Xfinity car, and the different driving styles that it will take to drive either one of those cars.
Yeah, for sure. The Xfinity car is a high-powered, low-downforce car, and the ARCA car is a high-downforce, low-powered car. So it's really different, in how the cars drive and how the racing is. I feel like with the high downforce, low power package that the ARCA Menard Series cars have, it's more of a pack racing, kind of what you see, in the Cup Series. I feel like it's more of a speedway race at 1.5 miles. So, being able to block aero and being able to use that stuff to your advantage is the biggest things. And, an Xfinity car, you have that, but at the same time, you're more racing the car and the track because, you have all the less downforce. So you have to be pretty prepared for, when you run out of grip and, how to save them. I really like Xfinity Series with the competition the way it is. They're both really good for me. But, it's always fun to be able to run the Xfinity Series.
Right. The Kansas Speedway is a unique racetrack. You can race all over the place on that thing, right? You can run down at the bottom. You can rip the lip up at the top, right up by the wall. Yep. Talk about the difference. It seems like in the recent years that we've had out at Kansas Speedway, more people are more comfortable with ripping the lip around the top up by the wall than pulling the bottom. Talk about the differences of running up at the top and the reason you would run at the top versus running at the bottom at Kansas Speedway.
Yeah, well, as tires fall off, you lose speed, and then when you run the bottom, you lose time. And so we try to run the top so you could roll more momentum. You get the longer way around, but you can kind of get the car wound up pretty good, coming off the corners and have more straightaway speed than people running the bottom. You carry more momentum on the top. So as the tires wear off, you can kind of move around a lot. Usually on stickers around the bottom, I don't really know. Sometimes it moves around. But, we're at nighttime this time, or we're at daytime actually, but it's going to be a little bit cooler this time, one of the cooler races probably. So, you never really know kind of going in, it could be a bottom feeding race, but, at the same time, you could be all the way on the top and then you could be all over the place. You could be the middle working, the bottom working, and the top working.
Right. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention your grandfather, Joe Gibbs, 3-time Super Bowl champion with the Redskins. He's such a people person, right? And when I hear you talk and when I watch you do interviews, it seems like your grandfather has been a great mentor to you growing up through your life and leading you down the right path. Talk about your relationship with your grandfather.
Yeah, my relationship with my grandfather is awesome. I've got my whole other family too, my mom, my dad, my rest of my family. So, we work as one big family and we have a good time, and it's always fun to, have your family involved with, racing and your passion, and we all love it, and I get to be able to go and fun with my family all the time.
Yeah, well, it would be great to have somebody like that in your corner, and you're really blessed to have such a mentor as your grandfather, Joe Gibbs. You. So thanks for taking the time with us here today, Ty. We sure appreciate you taking the time. Good luck to you this weekend with the Kansas Lottery 300 as well as the Reese's 150 with the ARCA Menard Series. Good luck to you this weekend.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for letting me come on.
All right. There you have it. That's Ty Gibbs. Obviously recorded interview from a couple days ago. Sometimes we have to do that. And he will be competing today. What'd you say? He qualified 5th, Kirk, for the Xfinity race?
He's going to be on the outside of the 5th row.
Outside of the 5th row.
He's starting 10th in the Xfinity race.
Gotcha.
And, of course, he'll up towards the front of the ARCA race. We think they still have to practice and qualify the ARCA cars, so we don't know what the lineup is yet, but he's more than likely going to dominate the ARCA race, as he did back earlier this year when he won the first of the 2 ARCA races. But he's got this championship all wrapped up in the ARCA series. All he's got to do to win the championship is start the race, basically.
Right.
So that'll be that.
And by the way, I misspoke earlier when I said that was the car that Kyle drove. That is not the car that Kyle drove. So just so I'm clear on that. I knew that. I misspoke, and I said that a little bit earlier, that that is the car that Kyle has driven. That is not the case. I want to say hi to David. He's listening from New Zealand right now. Dave Tyson's down in Florida listening to the show in Fort Myers Beach. So we want to thank everybody that listens in from around the country. Ty Gibbs. Now, I don't want to. Here's the thing about Ty Gibbs. I don't want to discredit him at all. The kid has uber amount of talent, right? He's won in the Xfinity Series. He's won in ARCA. He's pretty much dominated ARCA, winning nearly half of those events. I think there's a couple races that he won out in Winston West, out in the West Coast, which might bring his total up to 12. But I think he's won a combined 10 races in ARCA, and I think they've only run 20 races. So he's won nearly half the races with the ARCA Remax Series, or ARCA Menard Series. So I think he's got huge amount of talent. My only thing is, and I hate to say it, ARCA is not what it used to be, right? I mean, you've got 20 cars that are competing in ARCA, compared back in the early 2000s when there was 50 to 60 cars at every event. Now, I don't know what NASCAR needs to do to help ARCA. They own ARCA now. They need to do something. And what I suggest they do, and I don't know if this isn't the plans. It could be, I might be out of the loop a little bit. But what they need to do is take these cars that they're getting ready to get rid of after this year, because we're going into the new car, the COT car, right? Let these cars stay complete, frames and all, because a lot of the ARCA teams, what they've been doing is taking the old COT cars, and when the ARCA teams buy these cars, they don't have a front clip on them. They cut the front stub off them because they don't want people to get that technology. I say the team should leave those cars whole, let them sell them as a roller, like when I bought mine. I went and bought a Kenny Schrader M&M's number 36 car. I rolled it into my trailer, took it home, and put it all together, right? I didn't have to put a frame on the front, didn't have to put a front stub on it. I didn't have to do any of that thing. And so this is what I think NASCAR needs to do, is make this car that they're currently running, because there's going to be a flood of those cars available. And tell the teams not to cut the front stubs off of them and just sell them to these ARCA teams, and that way we'll see an influx of more ARCA cars in the future, I believe.
Well, I agree with that. Maybe that is what they're planning on doing. It's, I mean, it makes total sense to me, as because reinfusion of more cars in the ARCA series is what it's going to need. But when it comes to Ty Gibbs, we've seen drivers go in and dominate the ARCA series before. We haven't seen too many drivers go up into the Xfinity Series and win races there, multiple races. He's won 3 in the Xfinity Series this year. Probably the most impressive one was that road race at Daytona back in February. That was the one that really opened up everybody's eyes. But this kid has got the talent. I think everybody agrees with that. It's one thing to come with the name Gibbs, but this kid is getting it done. Yes, it's great equipment, but he is making it happen.
Well, let's be fair, Kirk. What he's doing over there, he's probably got better equipment than anybody out there.
Well, we've seen guys in great equipment before.
They have all the resources from the Cup teams to figure out what's going on with these racetracks.
I agree with that. I'm going to grant you that.
He's got a huge advantage over the rest of the field.
But I think he's gone beyond that.
But he's a talented driver.
No doubt.
Yeah, we've seen that. Well, he won the first Daytona road course race as well. All right, we're going to take another break. When we come back,
the postman.
Steve Post is going to join us right here. The Postman, next on Track Talk.
Next to your vehicle's engine, your transmission is the most important component of your car. If it's not properly maintained, your car may not shift properly. By adding Lucas Transmission Fix to your transmission, it cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting, renews worn bands to stop slipping, stops seal leaks, will not void new car warranties, contains no harmful solvents. Lucas Transmission Fix. It works.
The Whole Person connects people with disabilities to the resources they need to live independently and enjoy the many opportunities this great city provides. We're focused on creating a fully accessible community where opportunities and choices are not limited by disability. The Whole Person delivers programs and services that enhance the confidence of people with disabilities by providing the skills needed to live, learn, and work in the Kansas City Metro. The Whole Person serves both Missouri and Kansas. Learn more by visiting thewholeperson.org.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I'm attorney Mike DePasquale. I played linebacker. I won a state championship. I played Division I ball. I know a thing or two about winning. A winning attitude starts with confidence. My law firm is so confident in what we do that if we take your injury case and we don't win, you don't pay us a dime. So if you've been hurt, call me. My team wants to win for you. I've got this.
Mike's got this. All you need to know. 816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Just like Kansas City, Audi Shawnee Mission knows how to win. Come in today to see why Audi Shawnee Mission is rated one of the top dealers in the Central region by Audi of America. Stop in at Audi of Shawnee Mission and experience their brand new state-of-the-art facility. It's easy to get to directly off I-35 in Merriam, at the corner of I-35 and 67th Street. Audi of Shawnee Mission is a proud supporter of our hometown team in red. Come see why they are champions too.
98 years serving Kansas City. That's your Hen House Market, and they're giving you the specials, like back at the meat counter. Fresh 85% lean ground beef, ground fresh several times each day, just $3.99 a pound. USDA Choice Certified Hereford Beef top sirloin steaks, just $5.99 a pound. Why not some easy peel Argentine red shrimp? That's just $7.99 a pound. And make sure you stop by to register for your chance to win a $98 Hen House gift card. Every store is giving one away. Visit henhouse.com for all these specials and more. Hen House, serving your family for 98 years.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Brian Pringle with Victory Ford at the Legends in KCK. Folks, I'd like to buy your car, whether you buy one from us or not. The process has never been easier. Just visit victoryfordkc.com, click the instant cash offer banner at the top of the page, then stop by the dealership and pick up your check. Does life have you too busy right now? Just let us know and we will come to you. And right now, if you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, we probably have what you're looking for. Fresh inventory is arriving daily at Victory Ford, where our first price is better than their last.
The NASCAR Cup Series.
Brad Keselowski to the inside, William Byron to the outside, and the green flag is in the air.
Playoff round of 8 heads to Kansas.
Hamilton in again. Trouble turn 1. Right front tire is down.
Who will secure their spot into the championship 4?
Kyle Busch, celebrating his birthday today, is going to do it with a checkered flag.
It's the Hollywood Casino 400.
Sunday, tune in for live coverage from Kansas Speedway on ESPN Kansas City.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Jeff Briggs with Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, home of the Victory Effect. Our
Sorry, boys,
drive
they
down
loaded
vehicle
us with
pricing for the
commercials,
city we
so
love.
give me
The Ram Power Day sales event is on until the end of the month. Quality incentives combined with all-time low interest rates and all-time high trade values make it a great time to buy. We know it's hard to find a replacement, but did you know if you custom order a new vehicle at Victory, you get to play best ball with the factory incentives? That's right. Get an accurate upfront price quote when you order today, and if the rebates are better when the vehicle arrives, the extra savings goes right in your pocket. It's a simple process, and we can show you how easy it is to customize a new vehicle and have it shipped directly to you, complete with your name personalized on the window sticker. And don't forget, if you have a trade, we will buy your car at top dollar, regardless if you purchase a new vehicle from us or not. Visit us at Kansas City's only automotive outlet mall, the Legends Auto Plaza, on the southeast corner of 435 and Parallel, just east of Nebraska Furniture Mart, or online at VictoryMotorsKC.com, where our first price is better than their last.
For 11 years, Breaking the Norm has presented the best and most uplifting stories in sports, entertainment, and business, and we wouldn't be here without our amazing partners and you, our faithful listeners. Your stories of life change, loving others, and inspiration keep us dedicated to making a difference in the world, one story at a time. Tune in Tuesdays at 4 p.m. on ESPN Kansas City 94.5 FM and Saturday mornings at 7 on Sports Radio 810 WHB for something good, something positive, and something real on Breaking the Norm.
At Reed Buick GMC, we are liquidating our pre-owned vehicle inventory. Hi, this is Trevin Reed. The fourth quarter is here, and that means one thing. It's time for everything to go. At ReedBuickGMC.com, we have over 200 pre-owned trucks, SUVs, and cars available for delivery. You can start your buying process online and finish up in our dealership in less than 60 minutes. Every pre-owned ReedBuickGMC.com vehicle comes with a minimum 6-month, 6,000-mile warranty. Call 816-436-6300 or go to ReedBuickGMC.com. Reed Buick GMC is values driven.
Track Talk.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, as well as RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Don't forget, hour number 2, you can watch it exclusively on our Facebook page, Twitter account, YouTube, racingboys.tv. Don't forget about our new show coming up, Mostly Motorsports. It appears that we're going to try to debut that during the Chili Bowl Midget Nationals. And who better to have on the show than a good old friend of ours? Man, he's been a friend for a long time. He was out at Lakeside last night watching Gio Scelzi pick up his first win out there, picking up $10,000. The postman, Steve Post, joins us now. Steve, how you doing, brother?
Gentlemen, I am doing well. How is everything? How's everything on your side?
Everything is pretty good. How was the traffic getting out? Were you pretty good getting out of there last night?
Well, I've been to Lakeside a time or two, and so I kind of know you need to park out by the railroad tracks.
Right.
I will say this. Overall traffic was terrible, as expected. I mean, if you go to Lakeside and don't expect that. But, I got out of there in good shape, but I've been there, done that a couple of times.
Your life on the road and the experience that you've had. That's what that's all boils down to. Hey, Steve, last night, I don't know if you saw that or not, but – you know, Kerry Madsen's out. It looks like he's on his way to victory, right? Gio Scelzi and Aaron Reitzel now driving the 8 car, him and Scelzi were battling it out back there. And I don't know if you saw that down the front straightaway when he tried to squeeze him into the front straightaway wall. Did quite a bit of damage to the front end of Scelzi's car, but it wasn't enough to keep him from getting up there and challenging Kerry Madsen at the end of the race on that last final restart and picking up the victory last night. But that could have been a lot worse for Gio when they made contact going down the front straightaway with him and Reitzel.
I did not see it. I heard Johnny Gibson reference it during one of the caution periods there in the stands, and then Gio referenced it, obviously, afterward. And first and foremost, after the race, Aaron did come over. Was not a heated thing. They just chatted for a second, and then, Aaron walked away, and they seemed like they understood where each other was with it. But the thing of it is that damage was significant in looks, but not enough in performance of the race car. And I think that just kind of put Gio up on the wheel there. And unfortunately for Kerry, he had a really smooth, easy run prior to that. I mean, he's out there leading. He really didn't even have much lap traffic. Every time they get the lap traffic, he had one little stint where he had some lap traffic, but every time he get the lap traffic, the caution come out. That's the recipe for being what is called a sit and duck, because Gio's had to navigate around some other cars. He's had to pull some moves on people back there, running with Reitzel, running with Brad Sweet, running with Donnie Schatz a little bit. And so consequently, he had a better feel for it, and he was able to come up there and steal that one on the restart at the end, and just picked up that win. Big win for Gio. It's been a while since he's won a World of Outlaw race, so good to see him knock that one down.
We're visiting with the postman, Steve Post, MRN reporter, also the host of Wing Nation on Tuesdays, 12 Central here in Kansas City. A great show. If you love wing sprint car racing, it's a must-see show on Tuesdays. And it also, I don't know if you know this, Steve, but it replays on Saturday morning, and your mug is usually right behind me while I'm doing the show, because we have a big TV in here that has Mav on 24/7, and when the 9 o'clock hour comes around on Saturday morning, your mug is right behind us when we're doing the show. So just so you know, we're promoting your show.
That's a scary visual with both your mug and my mug on the same screen. That's not a good thought.
We're promoting your show within our show, just so you know. I just want you to know
well,
that.
I do appreciate the promotion, that's for sure. A couple of handsome men like us who would not want to tune in, you know?
That's right.
Right. If only I had your hair, bud. Now, listen. What is the deal there, Steve? Are you going to be a musician, or what's going on there? You having a midlife crisis? What's happening there?
Well, if I'm having a midlife crisis, this is a mild one. I don't even know what's going on with it. I really don't. I just decided not to cut my hair for a while, and it's kind of taken on a little bit of a life of its own, and I'm all right with it. So there are times during the summer where it's a pain, but it's all right. It's got its own identity.
You and our Todd need to compare notes. Our producer Todd is right along with you.
Let me just tell you something. If I had a full head of hair, my hair would be real long too.
Hey,
I hear that. It's funny. I hear that from a lot of guys, actually. They talk after they say, cut your hair. You need to cut your hair. And then they take off their hat and their bald and say, I wish I could do that. So
Right. Well, that's me. All
right.
Go ahead, Kurt.
Let's talk. We just got a couple of minutes here, unfortunately, but I wanted to get in about two big races this weekend at Kansas Speedway. We got the Xfinity Series race this afternoon and the Cup Series race tomorrow. We're getting right down to it for championships. What do you see this weekend in both these races?
Well, I see with the Xfinity Series, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because all 8 drivers are still – nobody has locked their way in to the finale at Phoenix, because of John Hunter Nemechek won last week at Texas. So I think when you look at that, I think you've got A.J. Allmendinger is kind of leading the charge there. He's in the best position point-wise. But Kansas is a little scary. It looks like a traditional, calm, peaceful 1.5-mile track, but this thing has caused some chaos in the past, both on the Cup side and the Xfinity Series. So I think this is one where you need to, and I think the other factor is you need to determine how good you think you're going to be at Martinsville, because that's not a traditional 1.5-mile track. And if you feel really good about Martinsville, then maybe that impacts the way you go into this race. If you don't feel good about Martinsville, then you obviously need to step up your game here at Kansas. So I think that's the case in the Xfinity Series. When we look at the Cup Series, I'm going to be curious if the Kyle Larson freight train continues. I mean, he led a bunch of laps here in the spring, didn't get the finish he was looking for. So he'd like to check this racetrack off the box. He'd like to keep the foot on the throat, the boot on the throat of everybody. And so we'll see what happens. There's a couple guys. Joey Logano is nearing a win and move on situation. The good news for Joey, he's pretty good at Martinsville as well. We have that same dynamic with not only how good are you at Kansas, but how good do you think you might be at Martinsville. So it's just going to be fascinating to watch it play out. I love this racetrack. I love how it's aged, and we got a perfect racetrack for a really fun weekend of racing here.
Steve, it seems like we're going to have to deal with cool conditions today, a little cloud cover, maybe some sprinkles here and there, and that's always changing the dynamic of the racetrack. That's going to be a big play this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so as well. And I generally tend to like hot and slick and greasy when you come to these old worn-out 1.5-mile racetracks, but it will change the dynamic. But I still think that we're going to see guys as more rubber gets applied to the racetrack and more time gets on the racetrack, I think, throughout the course of the day today. See how much of it gets washed off. There's supposed to be rain, I believe, overnight, and then see what we have tomorrow. It is just going to be an ever-changing dynamic. A good racetrack, though, these teams, these drivers are so talented, and you put them on a good racetrack, which is what we have here in Kansas, and they're going to figure out a way to put on a show for us. Like I said, I like hot, slick, and greasy, but we're going to have a little bit cooler temperature today. But I'm fairly confident they'll get up there along the wall. Some guys will keep working the bottom of the racetrack, and we'll have some good stuff as this unfolds.
Yeah, and we're pretty blessed here at Kansas Speedway. The cars are able to run from top to bottom. It seems like as the race goes on, though, the top gets a little more dominant.
Yeah, it generally does. I think that is the case. It's just that momentum thing. And I actually heard you guys chatting with Ty Gibbs just before I came on, and I think that's the whole thing. I think as the pace slows, then momentum becomes more important than distance and raw speed, and I think they can keep them wound up there along the top shelf.
Yeah, these restarts, last week at Texas, in the last 40, 50 laps of that race, it was pretty dramatic. It's going to be more so on this racetrack, is it not?
Well, and I think that's the real dynamic thing of this. You know, they can get strung out a little bit on these mile-and-a-half racetracks, but boy, these restarts are just absolutely amazing. I mean, we had one earlier this year in Michigan where Ryan Blaney had nothing going on all day long, maybe a top 5 car, and on a late race restart, he gassed it up and just found the right line, found the right holes, and picked up the win. So when you look at this, it puts a lot of pressure on the drivers and spotters and teams to win the battles off from pit road to get that track position to try to win these battles off the restarts. And Kansas, this thing, they'll fan out the 4 wide, maybe 5 wide down into turn 1. It's going to be nuts.
Steve, we only have 30 seconds. Tell everybody where they can watch Wing Nation and everything that you do quickly.
WingNation.com is where all the Wing Nation stuff is. We're on MAV TV on Saturday morning. You can follow me on Twitter at ThePostman68, and love having people following along and saying, hey, at the racetrack.
Steve, thanks so much, brother. We love you. Appreciate you.
Love you. Talk to you off the track, boys.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, bud. There you have it, the Postman, Steve Post. Don't forget, hour number 2 coming up. You can watch it on our Facebook page, Twitter page, YouTube page, RacingBoys.tv as well. It's all been brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Made in America, sold to the world. Todd, Austin, Kirk, and I will return here in just a few minutes. We hope that you'll join us. Stay tuned.
A walk and some ice cream with someone sounds like the perfect treat.
Making pizza with someone
who's as into it as me? That was a good show. Appreciate it, man. Have a good weekend, all right?
Love to do the you same
too.
Also,
I'll
actually be with you guys tomorrow.
Okay.
For you guys' event, all
right? All right, very good, very good. We'll talk to you tomorrow then.
Time is the
I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Rock and roll. For singles over 50. It's easy to use.
Taking care of your car is a responsibility. It ensures the long life of your car and its expensive components. That's why Lucas Oil takes automotive protection so seriously. Lucas heavy-duty oil stabilizer bonds with motor oil to shield engines from heat and wear. So take pride in caring for your car and pass that pride and knowledge to the next generation for years of smooth, reliable driving on the long road ahead. Trust Lucas Oil. It works.
For poor vehicle performance is a dirty fuel system. It can cause decreased fuel economy and actually do harm to your engine over time. By adding Lucas fuel treatment to your vehicle, it cleans and lubricates the entire fuel system, pump, carburetors, fuel injectors, and valves as you drive. It also improves your vehicle's performance. It's a non-solvent product designed to protect both gasoline and diesel engines. Lucas fuel treatment. It works.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Spirit Specialty Sportswear in-house. We do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other ad specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
There is less than 1/100th of an inch of motor oil protecting your car's engine. Friction and heat causes engine oil to experience thermal breakdown, weakening its ability to protect the engine and its parts. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer is specially formulated to resist thermal breakdown, protect vital engine parts, and extend the life of your engine. It also stops smoking, knocking, and oil consumption in worn engines. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer. Keep that engine alive.
Alumatech Products is the premier aluminum cabinet company as well as custom aluminum trailer manufacturer. They specialize in custom cabinetry and production units. All the cabinets are built in-house by exceptional craftsmen. Alumatech Products also offer truck caps that are built from the ground up, starting with a framework all the way to a complete build. The folks at Alumatech are driven to produce quality, long-lasting products through innovative design to best suit you. For more information, go to alumatechproducts.com.
Missouri's must play getaway. Osage National Golf Resort.
3 9-hole courses to choose from at the Lake of the Ozarks in the Osage River Valley. Stay and play packages in our first-class condos. A beautiful clubhouse complete with pro shop and exercise facilities. A large pool for relaxation and families. The Eagle View Sports Bar and Grill. Great wedding facilities. Go online and make your tee time today.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum, and our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, SprintCarStuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
We not only look to the future, we design it. Our excellence and professionalism in craftsmanship, quality, and safety is unmatched in the industry. We are proud suppliers to some of the most elite race teams in the world. We build it, you drive it. We are here to help you win.
Next to your vehicle's engine, your transmission is the most important component of your car. If it's not properly maintained, your car may not shift properly. By adding Lucas Transmission Fix to your transmission, it cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting, renews worn bands to stop slipping, stops seal leaks, will not void new car warranties, contains no harmful solvents. Lucas Transmission Fix. It works.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and you're listening to Racing Boys, and if you ain't listening to them, you get out of the country because you're a communist. I love the Racing Boys. Like Mater says, they make me happier than a tornado in a trailer park. You know the funny thing about that is, the Larry voice and the Mater voice are exactly the same. Get her done!
Welcome to Hour 2 of Track Talk on the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Made in America, sold to the world. Here again are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome back. Welcome back. It's Track Talk here on RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. You got a speaker open over there, Kirk?
I just pulled, that's the way it is with a lot of these websites. You pull websites up and they want to play video at you, when you don't want to hear it.
Had nothing to do with you.
Well, I just, when I pull up a website, you never know what's going to happen. Sometimes it spits out stuff that I don't want it to be heard.
So Dave Tyson said, and that's the biggest reason I didn't go back this year to Lakeside. I think Dave's down in Fort Myers Beach. Lakeside last night. You know, I love Lakeside Speedway. And to be fair, now that I-70 is gone, and let's face it.
Yeah, but it's back. I-70
No, don't get me wrong. When I say it's gone, the old track, right?
Right.
I haven't raced on the new track. Would love to. Maybe someday I will. But Lakeside Speedway, you know, it's the only track, Kirk, that's been around for over 30 years now. Other than Sedalia. And what are they doing with it? Nothing. Letting it rot.
Letting what rot?
Sedalia.
Sedalia? It is. I wouldn't say that. It's part of the fairgrounds down there. They're not letting it rot.
Come on, let's race down there a little bit more at the fair.
They were down there 2 times this year,
Kirk.
including an all-star race.
Kirk.
That's about what the deal has been for the last many
Find
years.
a promoter like Bob Baker, who did a better job with that racetrack than anybody, and reopen it and run it weekly. Oh, by the way, did you hear that CMS dropped NASCAR?
Yes. Yeah, that was a couple of weeks ago.
I know it. What'd you think about that?
I was surprised that he signed up with NASCAR to begin with.
Me too. For sure.
If you want to know the truth. No, I'm not surprised about that at all.
Little boost of energy.
It didn't generate what he had thought or hoped that it would in terms
Well,
of...
I don't know. I haven't talked to Earl. You know, Earl,
yeah.
You know, he doesn't talk to us much. We're not his favorites. You know, it's funny. We're not favorites with a few places around here. You know that, Kurt?
Why is that?
It's not because of you. Everybody loves Kirk Elliott.
Yeah, you're the guy with the black hat. What can I tell you? You're the guy.
Dennis doesn't care much for us. Earl doesn't care much for us. Mike Johnson doesn't care much for us.
They all liked us when we had our TV and everything.
When they were doing their shows in our studio, they loved it, didn't they?
And when we promote all their stuff or try to get the county off
Well,
their
let's be fair. We still
back.
promote CMS quite a bit.
Or we go out there to the...
Listen, and I'll leave the track name out of it, but there's only one racetrack that I try to avoid doing too much with, and that's because of the people that work for that racetrack. It has nothing to do with the owner.
Heck, we even went out and filmed.
It's the people.
The town hall meetings.
It's the puppet master and the puppet, and their names are the same.
Well, I was talking with Bearstock last night. That is Darren Christie.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about CMS. He's still driving some. CMS, Lakeside. And I just said,
I love
Bear,
Bear,
I said,
man.
Bear, I love CMS. I love going down there.
I do too, man.
It's a great place to go watch races.
I love CMS.
They've done a great job with that facility down there.
Yeah.
And I've always found it to be a very comfortable place to go. And he told me this was after he told me last night, his first career win was at CMS.
Oh.
Back in the day.
See, I would have thought Bearstock's first win would have been at Riverside.
Nope. He said Central Missouri Speedway.
Really? His worst wreck was at Lakeside.
It was like 1988, I believe he told me.
Right.
But anyway, we were talking about CMS.
Bear's a good man.
And I just said to him, I love that place. Love going down there. And it's just a great atmosphere to watch weekly racing. It really is.
Right.
So anyway, that's that part of that conversation. And I'm not saying that just because we're on the air. That was a private conversation that he and I were having about that racetrack. So it's always been one of my favorite racetracks. But getting back to NASCAR, I was surprised that he signed up with NASCAR to begin with.
All right, so the question of the day, put the phone number up, Todd, in case somebody wants to use it. They don't use it enough. Maybe we need to start giving away some T-shirts or something. You know what? I do have a pair of tickets for tomorrow's Cup race right here.
The last pair we have left.
We have one pair of tickets left to tomorrow's Hollywood Casino 400 at Kansas Speedway.
Starts at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Should we do the best take of the show for the second hour? How should we do this? We don't want somebody to just call in, troll in, and get it, right? Huh? I want the best take. Listen, here's what I want. Let me ask somebody if they have any suggestions of what they could do. Can you turn that down just a little bit, Todd? I want to know what the best solution is to fixing Lakeside Speedway's parking issues.
Well, we all...
Do you go down another 100 yards? I bet you it costs $200,000 to put in a rail.
That's what I said. It's easier said than done to create a new access out at Lakeside Speedway with a railroad track.
Do you go to the unified government, and do you tell the unified government, listen, you want our revenue, and I don't know what their tax agreement is. Originally, when that track was built, there were some huge tax breaks.
Well, they're paying some pretty significant property tax on that.
I think they are now.
Yeah, out of Wyandotte County.
How? I guess. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, maybe so.
Is this Frog?
Hey.
Hey, Frog.
How are you?
How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Frog.
Did you go out there last night?
No, I worked late. I'm dying that I didn't, but I'm going out to the race today.
Hey, Frog. Does it when you watch an ARCA race? And listen, you were doing it long before anybody else in Kansas City was doing it, right? I mean, 10, 15 years before anybody, other than Dave Jensen, right? You and Dave were kind of the original two ARCA guys here in Kansas City.
Yeah, we started kind of at the same time.
Right. So, does it pain you when you only see 18, 19 cars in ARCA?
It absolutely kills me. And you were right about the Cup cars. They need to convert all those cars right to ARCA Series cars.
Yep.
And do exactly what you were talking about.
See, because the way I understand it, they're taking the old COT cars, and when those teams give them to them, they cut the front clip off of them. Well, listen, as you know, Frog, putting a front clip on a Cup car and getting that car to handle right, that would be a huge undertaking. Huge.
Well, and they're going to have to convert the CLT cars. There's virtually none of those left now. And the quality of them, I was talking to, I think, Frank Kim or Venturini here recently.
Yeah.
And those cars literally are vibrating themselves to death. They're wore out. So they need new cars.
Well, Frog, I know back in the day when I bought my car, I went down to MB2, and they were making a crew chief change. And you know what happens when they make a crew chief change? They sell their inventory of cars because they want to build their own cars their own way, right? And so Jack Johnson, if you remember Jack Johnson, who used to own Moberly Speedway, he and I went down there as two guys and said, listen, we want to buy 2 cars. Give us a deal. They said, okay. And all the cars that were there available were about $15,000. But these cars, Frog, were like brand new cars. They had no laps on them hardly at all. Right? And so Jack and I walked out of there. I think we spent about $30,000 altogether for 2 cars. He took his car, his son built it, him and his son built it, and me and JJ built ours. And I qualified 11th, he qualified 12th, our very first race out at Kansas Speedway. The thing about that is, and my point is that we went and bought a car, and all we had to do is find somebody like Trent Owens. That was a huge advantage to us, having Trent Owens on our team. Bringing in the right bars, the right springs, building our shocks for us. You know, he was building shocks for Rusty Wallace and Braun Motorsports at that time. He knew what we needed. He knew how to get us close, right? And we went out and rented a motor. I mean, we kind of went overboard a little bit for our first race ever, but you know, but you can't do that now. You got to go out. You got to buy a car. You got to take it to somebody. You got to get a front stub put on it. Then you got to figure out how to use that front stub, that brand new front stub that's on the car. I think it's a huge challenge to these teams.
Well, and there's going to be a big influx of inventory. You know, stock car inventory, that parts house down in Charlotte, they're going to have cars running out the back door. They're not going to know what to do with them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So you're right. I can't believe they, I'm going to talk to Drager today and of course the rest of the guys, but they're using the plastic bodies and they're using the Elmore motor or whatever that is, and they're expensive. Jesus Christ, they're expensive. I built my own motors out of parts. Kenny Weld would help me with cylinder heads,
right?
And I'd do the start blocks and do it relatively cheap.
Well, what I found was best for me was I rented my motors. Now, I rented my motors between $12,000 and $15,000 per race. But I had a tuner there that was there. He was tuning other motors as well. And my motor always ran at the top end of the horsepower, what people were running at that time, about 800 horsepower. But, I think that's the reason that we had success early was because of that. Having Trent Owens, renting the motor. I had a great guy in J.J. Sonneveld to help me get that car and that thing put together. Couldn't have done it without J.J. So, I mean, I think in J.J. and Trent, they really got along really well, and they were on tune with each other. I really think to this day that J.J. Sonneveld could have been a car chief down in North Carolina.
Oh yeah, he was quality.
Quality.
He did a good job with your car.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Frog, I've got 2 tickets here. You want to go to the race?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
I'm gonna let you talk to Todd, and we'll figure out how to get you these tickets. All right.
Okay, I appreciate it.
All right, I'm gonna put you on hold. Todd's gonna talk to you for a minute. We got Lee Spencer coming up next. You ready? All right. Let's go to Lee Spencer. How you doing, Lee?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Oh, doing okay. I don't know if you know who I was talking to. That's David Hall, Frog Hall, a long-time ARCA racer, raced back in the probably late 80s through the 90s, through 2000, early 2000s. Did it for a long time. He was one of those guys, always did it on a budget, used tires, and just did whatever he could do to make these races, you know what I mean? But he did it so long that I remember when I went to Frog and I told him, he said, well, what are you trying to do with your ARCA car, Scott? And I said, well, I'm going to try to qualify in the top 10 and run in the top 10. He goes, why are you setting your goals so high? Just go out there and run the race. That's what he said. I qualified 11th and was running 8th when I wrecked. So the story didn't end so well. Hey, Lee, this weekend...
Hey, you had goals, right?
I had goals. Well, the second race, Boyer ran second. So, I mean, I'll never... Have I ever told you this story, Lee? I'll never forget it. I'm friends with TJ Pusher over there at Spire, right? Entertainment. And TJ and Todd Braun and I went out one night. Right? And so Todd, after a few drinks, he looks at me with this little grin. He puts his arm around me and he says, come over here, Scott. I want to give you some advice. And I'm thinking, all right. He's going to let me in on the dirty little secret how to make this work, right? And I'll never forget, he put his arm up around me and he looked me right in the eye and he said, get out now. That's what he said. Get out now. It was about a month later I was done. So anyway, Todd Braun had a lot of success though, for sure.
He did, and he had a good run. It's just really really hard to keep it up at that level unless you have a technical alliance with a big team. And there's just so many things that factor in, but with the advent of the next gen car, I think this is going to become more of a factory backed success story for the mega teams than ever before.
For sure. But he's still involved a little bit, Todd Braun, with Justin Haley, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's his nephew, and he stood by him and helped him along, and Justin, through a little bit of luck and Mother Nature, won a cup race last year with Spire, and that was a cool story.
It was.
And it's they continue to keep digging, and I really have a lot of faith in what Colleague's trying to put together there, and I think they've done it the right way. Matt Colleague's really smart because he wasn't just going to piss away his money handing somebody a check and letting them manage the deal. He decided to manage it himself, and I can't blame him for that, because when you turn over the keys to the castle, you don't know who's what they're doing with your money. He's got complete control, and he's been able to flourish.
Yeah, for sure. Lee, this weekend the weather is going to come into play. I do believe this weekend they're talking about.
Really?
Yeah, it's really cool outside, and they're talking about chance of rain overnight. That might clean off the racetrack, take the rubber off of it. How big of a challenge is it for these teams to keep their car close to what they need to be to start the race when the track conditions are constantly changing like they are?
I think you've noticed over the last couple of years since the pandemic, not having practice and not having qualifying, not getting that seat time has been really difficult on a lot of these drivers, particularly Kyle Busch. I mean, Kyle Busch is just one who, he talks about it all the time, and there's nothing they can do about it unless they bring practice back into the equation. These mega teams that are so used to having unlimited tire budgets and being able to get, go out there and get their cars dialed in if they're not absolutely perfect off the truck. It's been tough for these guys. It's been tough for the people who are just coming into the sport because they don't have the knowledge and the experience on these tracks that the veterans have.
Here's one. I got to follow up. I got to follow up with this one question about this. Does because of the scenario and the way they're doing qualifying now and shortening up the 2 days and everything the way they're doing it now, has it helped the little teams at all? Do you think that the little teams are benefiting from the mega teams not having all this practice time and getting their cars dialed in? They've got all the engineers, the best people in the business. Does it help the little teams like the Spire Sports type teams?
You could look at it that way and in a perfect world say, well, yeah, maybe. But then on the other side, you think of all the sim and programs that the mega teams have, the testing capabilities that they can do that way because, clearly nobody's testing right now except for with the next gen car. But I would think that the resources of the bigger cars and just the fact that they can hire better drivers and more experienced drivers pay off in the long run. If you're a guy just trying to get started, it's tough. Then, you have an anomaly like Kyle Larson, just plug him in anywhere and he's going to do well. And, that's kind of what these people are up against is trying to compete against, really good equipment and really good drivers. And, the fact that anybody now can write a check and get into a car, I don't care how much money you have. It doesn't always equate to talent. And, that there's going to be that huge discrepancy too. I think we've seen a lot of times this year with these, with drivers that aren't as experienced as some of the veterans, causing wrecks that shouldn't happen. And that, that's kind of where NASCAR really has to take a deep dive and say, do we really want this to go on?
Here's what I don't understand about Kyle Busch. Everybody agrees he's one of the most talented drivers there is. I mean, nobody can argue that. Why is he put at such a disadvantage without practice time?
I think that he was so used, he and Adam Stevens, using that time to just really get dialed in, to set up their game plan, to strategize, just, using all the tools in the toolbox to prepare for the race. And when that was taken away, then it just wasn't as effective of a strategy for that organization. And, you saw it very much with Kevin Harvick this year, right? After NASCAR determined that they didn't like the way their wheel wells looked, and they completely had to chop up their cars and start from scratch. That feel and, that advantage that they had, it was taken away, and there was no way for them to regain that, because it just, how do you practice with that? How do you qualify with that? How do you get used to those changes, dramatic changes you had to make to those race cars without any time on the track? I mean, it's like if your races turn into into test sessions, then you end up, with what we've seen with Kevin Harvick this year, which is, an abysmal record, no stage wins, no race wins. I mean, it was a tough road to hoe, even though he really looked like he was going to, maybe be able to point his way into this round. That accident at the Roval with Chase Elliott just kind of threw that out the window. And, they started to figure out those cars, but I mean, that's another situation. It's just not the Kyle Busch's. When those mega teams are used to having all those opportunities to improve these cars, then something like a pandemic happens, and a lot of the advantage from that standpoint goes out the window.
With this new Gen X car, I don't know what they call it now, next gen car coming next year, it's a brand new race car. It's a big deal. This is a huge change in the sport, maybe the biggest change as far as cars we've ever seen. Now, is NASCAR going to go back to qualifying and more practice sessions with this new car next year?
Oh yeah, you'll see a change. The teams are happy because they don't have to spend money to have their drivers and teams at the track for multiple days. They can fly all these guys in on Sunday, and they can fly them all out. I mean, really, the only people staying around these days are the pit crews that do multiple teams, the spotters that spot for multiple drivers. But most of these people, they come in on race day, they leave on race day, and teams are saving per diem, they're saving hotels, they're saving rental, all these little incremental expenses that add up. I don't have to tell you guys, because you've been in the business a long time, the most expensive, the biggest nut of the budget is personnel, right? And if you can cut people down, which they're going to be able to do with this car, you're not going to need fabricators. You won't need, the tire carrier and changer. It's going down to, one nut. And so it's, with one lug, I mean, how is that going to change the dynamic of the pit crew? You won't need all these people going over the wall. And you've seen NASCAR every year, they cut the number of people going over the wall. Why? That's one more person they have to pay. That's one more person that needs a hotel room. That's one more person that you got to pay their per diem. And all these little changes have been in the team's benefit and cost.
But aren't they still going to have more track time to get this car dialed in?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. This car's nowhere close to being ready. And although they made gains during that Charlotte test, they're still having problems with heat in the cars. And, you change one thing, you got to change something else. And I think that's a lot of what these teams are experiencing.
I think the number one complaint I'm hearing is the front end on the way the car steers, and there's some vibration. We were talking to Kevin Harvick about a week ago, and he was talking that they really need to work on the front end of that car because there was a lot of vibration and stuff going on. Let me ask you this, Lee. Step back 10 years ago and compare to the teams what they were spending 10 years ago to what they're spending now, and let's use it in a percentage. We don't need to talk dollars because we really don't know. Nobody really knows what these teams spend, right? So let's figure in a percentage term. Do you think the teams from 10, 15 years ago have trimmed their budget back 35, 40% from what it used to be? Because we know that they've trimmed back what they pay their drivers, right? They got all these young kids that are coming up. And in fact, most of them bring some money with them, right? So just tell me, what do you think the differences is right now between 15 years ago and what the teams are spending now financially? How much do you think they trimmed off in a percentage?
I mean, I think your number's right, even with inflation, that they're not, 30-40%. I think that'd be pretty damn accurate because, as you said, where are the $7 million drivers these days? They're
Right.
non-existent. I mean,
No
it's just-
no practice.
right. No hotel room. You're not getting hotel rooms. I mean, you could just go down and we've talked about what the list looks like, and I think that's there's a lot to it. Now, on the other side of that, the team owners were banking a ton of coin back then. You remember when Tony Stewart, when they announced Stewart-Haas Racing, the formation of Stewart-Haas Racing, those first couple of years, Stewart was getting $1 million a race between between Office Depot and Old Spice. And so if you look at it from that standpoint, $36 million, I mean, how much of that do you think was going in the owners' pockets and how much of that was going into the race cars, right? I mean, yeah, you got to pay the driver and you got to pay the crew chief, et cetera, and all your overhead. But that's, that was a ton of coin. Nobody's getting that for, race team now. I mean, I would guess if I had to put a number on it, I would say 20 million might be the top. And, that might be Napa. I'm trying maybe Shell with Logano.
Right.
I'm just kind of throwing out, but think about it. I mean, how many of these guys have, Denny Hamlin has FedEx, but, and Kyle's got M&Ms. I mean, Joe Gibbs Racing has probably had the best influx of cash among any of them. But I would venture to say we're not in that 20-25 million range anymore. And, cobbling the sponsorships together. And, I'm not doing a poor me for the owners, absolutely not.
Sure.
Because they, if they were smart and they, put away the cash back during the golden days, they got nothing to worry about.
Right,
so,
right.
I don't feel their pain. But, as when the RTA was formed, then you just kept, okay, how do we cut this? How do we cut that? And how do we, just back and forth. And, I'm kind of blown away that they didn't put an end to this next gen car when they had the opportunity, because as much as these team owners like to cut corners and save money,
right,
this next gen car is, like the last big blowout. And, the product's been pretty good on the racetrack, so I don't understand, the need to really push for a new car. But, it's going to be here whether we like it or not.
Let me ask you this. The RTA, right, that was formed for a lot of reasons. And one of the reasons was for them to be able to maybe group together on purchasing. Has that worked for them in that department? Has the RTA worked as a group to help each other?
I think they've worked as a group to help themselves, but, in different ways. I would really, clearly I've not been in the garage to the extent over the last 2 years that
right.
I had been in the first, 25. But I just, maybe, them all flying in on the, the same jets and everything. I mean, there may be, a handful of drivers now that have private jets, or leased jets. I mean,
right.
Certainly they don't, most of them don't own their jets anymore because it's not cost effective. But I just, I would venture to say that a lot of this was just trying to right the sport financially in their, for their benefit. And I'm not seeing where it benefited the fans. The souvenir and apparel deals that NASCAR's done over the last decade, the quality of the souvenirs and the T-shirts and what have you, that's gone down. I mean, and if you had to contrast NASCAR, what they've done with the merch compared to dirt, it's like night and day.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a long time ago, I mean, the team owners really wanted to capitalize on, trying to get their chunk of change for that, and took that from the drivers. And we've had that discussion too about how many of these guys, when they go dirt racing, they make a ton, a lot more money on merch than they do from NASCAR, which is supposed to have this, abundance of fan base, and we're not seeing it. So I don't, there's the money thing. We could talk about the money thing for days.
Yeah, for sure.
Money makes the world go round, but does it make the racing any better?
All right, what are we going to see out here today? Let's start off with the Kansas Lottery 300 Xfinity Series race at 2 o'clock this afternoon. We're down to the final 8 in the points battle. Going to pare this down to 4 after Martinsville next week, but what's going to happen today?
I mean, that's a really good question, because you have a spoiler in there like Ty Gibbs again, and I keep waiting for them to make the Ty Gibbs announcement. They made the Brandon Jones announcement, right? But they haven't made the Ty Gibbs announcement. John Hunter Nemechek, he's another. He was another. It's funny because you almost have reverse bushwhackers now. He came in and took away a win from one of these guys that it really could have benefited them, trying to get through to the championship 4 round. Allmendinger and Cindric, they're still the class of the field. Allgaier, unless he has trouble, I have him right there. But when you look from Noah Gragson on down, Noah, Daniel Hemrick, Justin Haley, Harrison Burton, Brandon Jones, I think it's anything can happen. And I think the only 2 guys that are really, have nothing to worry about are Allmendinger and Cindric, and I think the rest is up for grabs over the next 2 races.
And Jones has won 2 out of the last 3 Xfinity Series races out here. So how big would that be if he were able to pull off the victory?
Well, it'd be absolutely huge because he's in the cellar right now, and he's 60 points behind AJ. He's 32 points behind Noah Gragson, and so he needs to win. He has got to win to really get into the group. So I think you're absolutely right. That would be an ideal situation, and he's, like I said, he signed his contract. He's the one. He extended his deal with Joe Gibbs Racing, so we know he'll be back. But when you look at it from the standpoint of what that organization is looking like now with Ty, with Brandon, perhaps a 3rd car, I don't see them having the 4 cars like they used to have anymore. And so, that's going to be an interesting thing to watch. But man, Brandon Jones, he's had his share of problems this year, and so I think just trying to see what he's if he can keep it up. They're not qualifying, but on the other side of that, like you said, he's got 2 wins, he's got an average finish of 11th. It's probably his best track on the circuit, and he's, four top 10s in 6 starts. That's, he's got good numbers there, but his luck this year has been horrific. And so he's going to have the racing gods smiling on him this afternoon.
Lee, maybe we'll have you on our pre-race show on Sunday. We appreciate you taking the time today. I want to go into Larson and how difficult it is to win 8 races in a season in today's world. But we've got a short track nationals winner waiting on hold for us, and we want to make sure that we get to him. So we'll talk to you on Sunday, okay?
Take care, gentlemen.
All right. Thank you,
Thanks, Lee.
Well, joining us now on the show is a friend of the Racing Boys. I was so happy last night. I was jumping around in the studio like a little kid when Jordan Mallett took the win last night at Short Track Nationals in feature number 1, locking himself in to tonight's A-Main. And Jordan Mallett joins us now on the show. Jordan, how you doing, bud?
I'm good, Scott. How are you?
I'm telling you, man, I couldn't have been any more happy for you last night. You know, Derek got up there and started racing you, and he was working the high side, and you were kind of pinned down behind a couple lap cars a couple times. And I thought, he's going to let it slip away. But you know what? When he went around you, you got your elbows up a little bit more, and you made the pass back and went on to pick up the victory. Now, that is your first national tour win last night, wasn't it?
It was. It was a good one.
You know, it's so hard to believe because, you know, you ran so well with the national tour after you were out there a little bit. And you had, I think maybe your best, let me guess, your best finish was third or fourth?
Second was the best one at Wheatland last year.
Yeah. See, I forgot about that one. So talk about last night and that race between you and Hagar, man, because I know you run his shocks, right?
I do.
Yeah.
And we're both using the same engine builder, so it gets to it was pretty cool for us to go 1-2 and both get ourselves locked in. You know, we're both really good buds, and both just use a lot of the same stuff. So it's kind of cool to keep it right here in Arkansas.
So were you getting frustrated when you – I can't remember the number of the car. There was two of them. There was one there for a bit that you were stuck in behind. He was trying to work the bottom, and he was kind of all over the place, and really you had nowhere to go. He'd start to open up the door, and you'd try to get in there, and he'd close it and pull down on the bottom.
44 car, wasn't it?
I don't know. What was it, the 44 car?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. Talk about how frustrating that had to be when you're leading that race and he's in your line.
Yeah, I knew we were pretty good around the bottom here. Not necessarily my preferred line, but I knew we were rolling pretty good down there, and I don't know. I just wanted to kind of mind my own business, and I was afraid there early on that the bottom was good enough that it was going to kind of get boring for, you know, the fans. But I started to hear him once I got plugged up behind lap traffic, but I knew as long as I could hear him and wasn't seeing him yet that the bottom was still better. And then once he finally got around me, I just knew if I could be consistent and keep working the bottom over, that he wasn't driving out of my life or anything, and I could pull right back to him every time I could clear a lap car. So it was just a matter of keeping my head down and making sure that I didn't overthink things. You know, it's easy to hear somebody up there and jump up to the top shelf or jump up to the middle and then them slip right back below you where you were running. So just try to play it smart and just try to pick him back off once I would get clear lap traffic and get a good run.
When you haven't had your first national tour win and you're pinned in behind a lap car like that, how difficult is it to make yourself be patient? I mean, because patience was the key last night, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know, 5 years ago or 4 years ago, it wouldn't have been that case. I would have gotten, you know, experience plays in, and you learn how to get aggressively patient, where you don't risk doing anything stupid, but that you're not risking giving anything up at the same time. You know, we didn't come to run second, so I was going to get in there and make it happen, but you know, do it with a little bit of experience and use my head a little bit and play the game to my advantage.
When you're racing a buddy like Derek Hagar, who, by the way, is one of the best down there in the Mid-South, right? I mean, we all know about Derek Hagar and what he's all about as a driver. Is there any extra satisfaction knowing that you're outrunning not only your friend, but one hell of a driver as well?
Yeah, you know, it seems like it's always this common denominator. Anytime me and Derek, anytime we go at it, it's like it's just turned up on another notch. You know, some of the best races around here, we've wound up running 1 and 2 because we just we go after it hard and we like to put on a show. So yeah, it's definitely satisfying. I think it's a mutual thing both ways. You know, he outruns me and I outrun him, and we just give it our all every time, and it works out fun.
That track looked like it was in great condition last night. Is that about as good a track prep as we've seen down there? It looked like a great racetrack.
It looked a little heavy early, though.
It was. It caught me off guard. Every time we'd been here this year, it'd gotten kind of slick, and I'd actually told told Scotty Boguski over here, he's pitted beside me, and I was like, man, he kept telling me all night, I don't think this place is going to blow off. And I'm like, dude, it's looked like this a lot this year, but it always does. But no, they proved me wrong. It stayed pretty juicy all night, and started to get a little bit better there for the second feature. So they did a really good job. Keep the moisture in it, and we'll see what they give us tonight. They got a lot of cars racing on it, so they're doing a really good job on track prep.
You brought up Scotty Boguski. Looked like he had a pretty rough night. He got upside down there during his heat race.
Yeah, tore up his car pretty good too, it looked like.
So how do you approach tonight? Now you're locked in, you and 3 other drivers. How do you approach tonight, knowing that you got the A main to only focus on?
It makes my day a little bit more, not necessarily relaxing. We're going to do all of our normal job, but it just gives me less worry or less having to think about getting tied up in someone else's mess, early on in the night, getting tied up with somebody in a heat race trying to go for it or anything like that. We stayed up late last night and did a lot of late night maintenance, and going to get some more stuff done today, and just kind of gives me more time to concentrate on what the racetrack's doing and what other people are doing, so that maybe I can make the right call come the feature.
I know this had to mean a lot to your mom and dad and your beautiful wife, that victory. I could just see their faces in victory lane. They were glowing last night, bud. Yeah, it's been a long time coming, ever since I bought mom and dad out back several years ago, and me and Madison, ever since we started running everything, he's always been my right-hand guy ever since, and always there for me at the drop of a hat. So he always, I couldn't do it without him coming and helping me at the track to give me another hand. And then, Mom and Madison, she's always on the road as much as they can with us, to support us and cook for us and make sure we're fed so we can focus on our job at hand. So all right.
It's definitely a good night for sure.
All right, Jordan. Well, we've got Sam, the other winner from last night, on the line, so we're going to get to him. Good luck to you tonight, man. I'll be pulling for you. It looks like you got a lot of speed in that car, enough speed to win this deal tonight, so I'll be pulling for you, okay?
I appreciate it, Scott.
All right, buddy. Thanks again for getting up early and being on the show with us.
Congratulations.
You bet.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's Jordan Mallett. Let's go to another feature winner last night. Sam Hafertepe Jr. joins us on the show. How you doing, Sam?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad at all.
We cold called you because I felt like there might be a chance that you're up because you got a baby.
Oh, yeah, we're always up these days.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate taking the time. Talk about last night's win, man. That was about as dominating a performance as I've seen down there in a long time. That car was on a rail last night.
Yeah, it was probably one of the best cars we've had, and track conditions were, they were a little different than what we're used to at that place, but, hopefully it translates. If the track does get slicker, we still have the speed, but, as far as in that position last night, it's probably one of the best cars I've ever had at that place. Just, we just had so much grip, so much bite, just it seemed like we were a lot better than everybody else, and, there wasn't really any reason why. We didn't do anything different than we usually do, just kind of the same old deal, and it was really working really well last night.
The track conditions were a little bit heavy last night, but it seemed like your car in the A main that you ran, that you could work your car anywhere on the racetrack, but it seemed like it was a little heavy early in the evening.
Yeah, it was pretty heavy, but usually that place, when it's heavy like that, it gets choppy and rough in some areas, and you really can't race very well. But they did a really good job with the track, getting it really hard, and yeah, it was heavy. But when I got the traffic, I could kind of go wherever I wanted and get right by those guys. So I really thought, honestly, like if you had a good enough car, you could get through there even if it was heavy like that.
Yeah. Last night, Sam, you're coming in after winning it last year. Not many people have won it back-to-back. That would put you in some pretty rare company. That would be exciting to be able to do, wouldn't it?
Oh, for sure. When when I finally won it last year, I felt like we should have won it 3 other times. So
Right.
it was just neat to go ahead and finally get one last year, and then like this year we're in a good position again, and hopefully we can get the job done come into tonight.
Hey, Sam, congratulations on the win last night. This Kirk, this has been a different season for you as opposed to years past. You've done more 410 racing. How do you assess your season this year overall?
Probably not where we wanted to be, honestly. We knew there was going to be some struggles. We knew there was going to be some hardships for sure. But we really, honestly, we probably didn't, we thought, well, some of the issues we're having, it's just, 410's a little bit different. That's why, we're not handling as good as we're usually handling and getting a hold of things. But actually, we raced last weekend at Devil's Bowl, and I know that place about as good as anywhere, and we kind of had some stuff off with our race car, so we went to the shop, got to work, figured some things out, and really, honestly, I really can't wait for Charlotte to come so we can kind of gauge where we're at again, on the 410. I think it translated really good to Little Rock last night. Maybe it was just a few small things we had off that we overlooked, and we just maybe. It's just 410 racing, and we just kind of bypass those things. But I think we might have found a few things, last week at Devil's Bowl that maybe hopefully translates into some success going forward.
Sam, you got to be tickled to be the track record holder at Bristol, though. I mean, that's got to be one of the highlights of the year, right?
Yeah, it was really cool. It's probably everybody always talks about it. Well, what's Bristol like? The experience. Going there and being a part of that whole deal is something that I feel like everybody should do. It's pretty neat. It's unbelievable what your car does on that racetrack. Just everything about it. The whole weekend was really neat, and it was a great experience. I think honestly the track record will probably hold up for a while, because I don't think they'll have weather like that to get the track as good as it was that night when we broke the track record. So, like I say, it's definitely neat. Even if it only lasts a year, it's still pretty cool.
Sam, before we let you go, I got to ask you. Last night there for a while, Blake Hahn was running second, but J.J. Hickle got up on the wheel and got around Blake Hahn there. It looks like J.J.'s got a lot of speed in his car. If you were to look outside of your team. And tell me which team looks like is one of the strongest teams and maybe has a chance to compete with you tonight.
I would always say Derek Hagar. I mean, generally you go to any of those big crown events with the 360, and he's one of the guys. Like if it gets slick, he's definitely one of the guys to beat. He's always our best competition when the tracks get that way. Blake missed the transfer last night. I think he would be a tough guy for sure. It's about, it doesn't mean guys can't win races. It's just, it's about the guys that continually do it night after night after night. And, Hagar is one of those guys. And in these situations, he's probably one of the better guys, at Little Rock. So, we'll go in tonight. He's the guy that I think that, gives us the biggest challenge of anybody. But all in all, I mean, we've got to do our job. We can't worry about what other guys do. But, that I would say he's probably our stiffest competition. He's a really smart racer, and if it gets slick tonight, like I suppose it will, he's probably one of the better guys in the slick.
Is the weather conditions different today than yesterday, or any difference there?
No, it's about the same as we had yesterday. I just feel like with all the racing they're going to have, for today, last night and then today, I think eventually the track's got to give up some of that moisture that it has in it.
Yeah. Well, Sam, I think you're the odds-on favorite. If anybody was to take a poll, I think everybody would have you at the top of the list going into tonight, the defending champion, going for 2 in a row. We appreciate you taking the time. I'm sorry that we cold called you, but I just had a feeling that you might be up because of the kid. Thanks for taking the time with us on the show this morning, bud, and good luck to you tonight.
Yes, sir. We appreciate it, guys.
All right,
Thanks,
there you
Sam.
have it. The odds-on favorite tonight to win the Short Track Nationals, Sam Haferteep. Listen.
Well, the way he ran last night, he's going to be tough to beat, man.
Listen, if he starts up there towards the front,
oh my!
I don't know if there's. Listen, no disrespect to Derek Hagar.
I just don't think he's as fast as
I just don't think that he. I don't think he can compete with Sam.
Well, not if you base it on last night. That is true.
But I'm going to tell you, a sleeper, Jordan Mallett.
Sure.
I'm telling you, last night, Jordan Mallett. We just sit here and talk to Sam, right? And who did Sam say was the guy you got to beat? Derek Hagar.
Right.
Who did Jordan Mallett beat last night? Derek Hagar.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised if you see the Water for Christ number 14 car win the Short Track Nationals tonight in Little Rock.
Mallett's got a lot of confidence right now after what he did last night.
I'm telling you, man. Runs the same motor as Hagar, runs the same shocks as Hagar. This could be the biggest win of Jordan Mallett's career if he could pull it off here tonight. And I think that he's got a great shot of doing so.
Yeah. Hey, we've got one race on Racing Boys tonight. It is from Caney, Kansas, Caney Valley Speedway, the season finale for the Oil Capital Racing Series. And we'll have that live for you tonight on Racing Boys. The hot laps are supposed to get underway about 5 o'clock or 5:30 tonight. First race at 6. So join us for that. We'll have that live tonight right here on Race Boys. And tomorrow we've got a pre-race show from Kansas Speedway beginning at 12 noon. Be right here on Racing Boys and
1510.
ESPN Kansas City, 1510, 94.5 FM in Kansas City. And that you'll also be able to hear the race from MRN Radio right after that.
So explain that again, Kirk. On the FM dial, it is 94.5, right?
Yeah.
And on the AM dial, it's 1510.
1510.
Right.
So tune in tomorrow for that. And the live coverage from MRN Radio will also be with the Kansas Lottery 400 that gets green flag about 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So,
Kirk, who do you think's going to win this weekend in the Cup side?
I'm looking at William Byron. Not a playoff guy right now, but he ran pretty well last week. I'm thinking that he's the guy that's going to step up and win. What do you think?
Kyle Larson.
Larson does it again. Well, it's easy to pick him.
But you asked me, we're talking about who I think's going to win.
Yeah.
Not who I would hope would win. It's who I think's going to win. And the thing about Kansas Speedway, as you know,
he should have won.
As the race goes on, they get up by the wall. And who's the best at running up by the wall?
Kyle Larson.
He's the very best at running up by the wall.
He should have won this race in the spring.
So I say Kyle Larson wins his 9th race of the season.
Wow.
And just think how difficult that is in today's world, Kirk, to win 9 races at the Cup level. How often do you see somebody win 9 races in today's world? Not very often.
And then at Phoenix, he's got to finish ahead of the other 3 drivers that make it. And even though you win, say he goes into that race at Phoenix with 9 wins, that's still up. You still got to outrun the other 3 guys at Phoenix, which he's never run. He'd never won a race at Phoenix to win the championship. And let's be honest, Scott, there's only one driver that really deserves to win this championship. That's Kyle Larson. But he's got a it's not a dominating chance that he's going to finish that off at Phoenix. I still, there's something in the back of my mind that says Kyle Larson will not win the championship.
It's possible.
Because he won't win at Phoenix.
Why wouldn't you don't? Where did he finish at Phoenix the last race?
I'd have to go back and take a look at that.
I'm not sure where it's at.
But the winner at Phoenix in the spring was Martin Truex Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got to win. He and Joey Logano both really have to win tomorrow.
Right.
Or next week at Martinsville to get into the Final Four. They're so far back in the points right now. And who won here a year ago? Joey Logano.
Yeah.
So.
All right, the Kansas Lottery 300, the Xfinity race out of Kansas Speedway starts in 4 hours, 39 minutes, and 8 seconds.
There you go. That's going to be an interesting race.
Plenty of time to get out there and get you a ticket.
Plenty of time. We're headed out there here pretty quick.
Yep.
That's going to be an interesting race, and the ARCA race at 6:00 tonight. The Reese's 150, and we'll see if Ty Gibbs can double up the day. He's got a pretty good shot at it, I think.
Sounds good. All right, we want to thank all of our guests that have been on today: Ty Gibbs, Steve Post, Jordan Mallett, Lee Spencer, Sam Haperteep. We want to thank all those people for being part of the show this morning. And we want to remind you that our new show, the new show that will be coming up, I think I'm going to debut it at the Chili Bowl.
Good place. That makes a lot of sense to me.
And it's called Mostly Motorsports. It's presented to you by Lucas Oil Products. And we're looking forward to doing that show to be a daily show from 11 to 12:30, Monday through Friday. And looking forward to it. And the name is what it is. It's Mostly Motorsports. We'll talk motorsports for the most part, but we'll also talk about what's going on in television, music, current events, but we're not going to be talking politics and religion. So that's one thing I'm going to stay away from. We'll let everybody else talk about that.
Hey, go to Flow Racing for the Short Track Nationals tonight. They've got the exclusive on the Short Track Nationals
And if you
tonight.
want to watch Trophy Cup, go to the Cushion.
Yeah.
thecushion.com. And if you want to watch our stuff tonight, again, just go to racingboys.tv.
Right, and Caney Valley Speedway, season finale, $1,000 to win. Should be a good race.
Yeah, it should
Tune
be.
in.
All right, we want to thank everybody back at Sports Radio 810, as well as Austin and Todd here at Racing Boys HQ. For my partner, Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor, saying thanks for joining us. It's been Track Talk, and it's all been brought to you by Lucas Oil Products, made in America, sold to the world.